One of the most common questions or comments I see on a lot of my steel mace videos are people saying you should just use a sledgehammer, or a sledgehammer can do the same thing, or why can't I just use a sledgehammer? So today I wanted to kind of go into depth on why I think a steel mace is a better option than a sledgehammer. Right here I have an 8-pound sledgehammer. Now a sledgehammer is a good option if you have one handy, like if you got one just out in the shed or in the garage, then yeah, you could totally watch some steel mace videos and try to replicate some of those basic movements with your sledgehammer. I don't have a sledgehammer handy. I had to go to Walmart before this video and buy this. So that wasn't super helpful for me, but I was able to get this a little bit faster than maybe I could with a mace if you don't have maces available in your area. But let's talk about the price. So this is an 8-pound sledgehammer. This is a 7-pound steel mace. 8 pounds, 7 pounds. I picked this up at Walmart for about $21, $22. This mace costs about $27, I believe. So it's a little cheaper to get yourself a hammer, a few extra dollars to get yourself a steel mace. But where I think the steel mace shines is in flow movements. So like I said, you can go pick up your hammer if you have one handy and start doing basic movements. A hammer is great for switch squats. You can do that pretty easily. You can use it for crown killers, things like that. That's going to feel pretty similar to what you would do with a steel mace. Once I start getting into swings, I think the hammer is a bit more dangerous because even with a 10-pound mace, you can see that the hammer has a bit more area. So when you're swinging that around, the higher speeds, if you accidentally hit your hip, your leg, your back, something like that, you're going to feel that a lot more with the hammer, and there's just more opportunity to hit yourself there because the area is bigger what you're swinging around. You still have the opportunity to hit yourself with a mace, but with that glow being smaller, there's just less of a chance, and it's going to be a little bit more forgiving because it's not a hammer. So those, for the safety reasons, I like the mace better. Now when we get past those basic movements of squats and crown killers and we start doing things like the swings, or we start getting into flows where we're going side to side, one hand, if I try to do sword mills, I can do it. It's not quite the same feel, especially if I get into some coin flips and I'm flipping the mace up and down, going behind my back, coming around. I can still do it. Like I said though, this extra space makes me feel more uncomfortable because more opportunity to hit myself, and the weight of the handle feels light relative to the weight, where with a steel mace, the balance point is a little bit farther out, so about there. That means that the handle has a little bit more weight. So when I do movements where I'm spinning the mace behind, switching directions, spinning around my head, I feel much more in control because the weight's not all off on one end. And when you get into heavier maces like 20 pounds and above, you're really going to have that extra weight kind of hinder your flow, which is why the 10-pound mace is the gold standard. It's the most balanced, it's great for flow. Heavier maces are going to be similar to the hammers. You're going to want to stick lighter with your flows, so that's why the 7 is so great compared to the hammer. You can learn those movements a little bit more safely. It's the same weight, 1 pound less, it's not a huge difference. But when you're doing things like 360s, you're going to have less surface area to hit yourself, and you're going to have a better balance with the hand. So if your goal is just to do some squats, things like that, and you have a sledgehammer handy, then yeah, you're probably okay with just sticking with a sledgehammer. But if you want to go beyond those basic movements and really start getting into flow, taking your mace to different places, doing 360s, things like that, that's where I think you're going to want to spend a few extra dollars and get yourself a mace, because if your goal is for fitness or flow, you're going to have just so much more options and opportunities with a mace versus a hammer. Hammer is good for basic things if it's handy. If you're going to spend the money though, spend a few more dollars, have so many more options, and get yourself that mace. Hope that helped. If I left anything out, if you still have questions, leave a comment. I'll try to expand on some of these ideas and let me know if this was helpful for you, and I'll try to do some more stuff like this, answering those questions.